Great show for you today. Starbucks announced it's closing down 16 stores, citing personal safety and staff safety concerns. Most of them are in Los Angeles and Seattle. And to combat the degenerate and disgusting decline of liberal cities, Democrats are talking about bringing back mask mandates for COVID. This is on the ballot this November, folks. So hopefully the media didn't brainwash you too much with other topics, causing you to forget that these psychopaths are desperate to treat you like slaves, animals, and second-tier citizens again. On a lighter note, let's watch the president of Mexico completely embarrass Joe Biden on gas prices.
Of infrastructure works.
Asimismo, en tanto baja el precio de las gasolinas en Estados Unidos, ojalá y apruebe el Congreso su propuesta.
And I hope that Congress approves or passes your proposal, Mr. President.
Bajar el precio.
Lowering prices, yes, that's it.
En tanto baja el precio de las gasolinas en Estados Unidos,
In the meantime, while we're waiting for prices to go down,
se ha permitido que estadounidenses que viven cerca de nuestra frontera puedan cargar sus automóviles del lado mexicano a menor precio.
So why are gas prices cheaper in Mexico than America? Aren't we supposed to be this awesome nation that has an economic stranglehold on the world, where despite all the wars, social division, we are at least supposed to have a better quality of life, right? Well, let's watch this Tucker Carlson quick segment. He did a really great segment talking about reasons why this may be.
One measure of the strangeness. The price of gas is now much cheaper in Mexico than it is in the United States. And that's why so many Californians are now driving across the border to fill their cars. Now, why is this happening? That does not make sense. Oil prices set in the international market. But apart from a few outlier websites like Zero Hedge, which not coincidentally the left is always trying to shut down and censor, no one seems to be asking that question. We do know that gas prices in Mexico are so cheap that the Mexican government is encouraging more Americans to cross the border to refuel their cars. Right now, said the president of Mexico this week, a gallon of regular cost $4.78 average on your side of the border, while in Mexico it cost $3.12. So you have to ask yourself, if we're paying more for gas because of Putin's price hike, why isn't Mexico paying more for gas because of Putin too? Why is inflation up when wages are down? This doesn't make any sense. So if you want to answer those questions, you really have to look at government spending. Last month, Mexico's government did not follow the Biden administration's lead and send its strategic petroleum reserve to China. They did not do that. Instead, here's what Mexico did. They spent $2 billion in subsidies to keep gas prices lower for consumers. In other words, the government of Mexico, in the middle of a drug war, is taking better care of its citizens than Joe Biden is taking care of his citizens. And that is shameful. But it doesn't mean Joe Biden is ignoring the needy.
But the media doesn't want you to say that. Funnel your money to Ukraine and be poor for as long as Joe Biden wants you to be seems to be the narrative that they're pushing to normal Americans. Very creepy stuff. Ivana Trump also passed away recently. Many condolences and respect to the Trump family on this loss. Of course, people want to know the cause of death. Authorities are saying they found her at the bottom of a staircase. Some are rumoring about cardiac arrest, even in mainstream media. We'll see as this goes on, but God bless all the family members dealing with this. I'm also going to talk about my thoughts on the Ukraine war and how the West's response is absolutely devastating us in Europe. And I also want to talk about how some baseball players are opting out of playing the Toronto Blue Jays because Canada is a psychotic communist country that won't allow people into their country who reject the synthetic mRNA shots, and they're treating their citizens like dirt if they opt out as well. Big show for you today, folks. Hope you enjoy. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining, and I have a lot of stories to get through, a few more presentations. I really put over like an hour and a half of work into this, so I hope you do stay tuned for it. I want to cover this Starbucks story before we get to the Mexico-America gas price thing because it really hits home for me. One of the neighborhoods I used to live in Los Angeles is having their Starbucks closed. No, I'm not freaking out because the Starbucks is closing. I'm just saying in general, it's just really proves how bad the city's getting. So Starbucks is closing down 16 locations, I believe 6 in Los Angeles, 6 in Seattle, 1 in, I think, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Portland, something all in common besides the fact that these are major cities, that they're run by Democrats. And although I understand there's other reasons for the crime, Democrats just don't seem to care that much about the decline of the city. I lived there. I watched as, sometimes cops would come through in places like Echo Park in Los Angeles, and they'd be like, all right, we got to clean this up. Because if you have a kid or you're a family or you're a normal person, maybe you're a girl who is like walking to work alone, or a guy, but obviously more vulnerable, like a kid or a girl is even worse. It's not safe. It's not a safe area. And then when the cops came and were like, okay, we got to clean up this mess, you would have literally left-wing protesters there being like, I want this here. Don't get rid of this. You're mean. We want to live in filth. We want to live in degeneracy. We want to live. It's disgusting, where it's like, it shouldn't even be a political issue, right? I don't like this whole like left-right paradigm that everyone's always fighting over dumb stuff, but it's like, there is like left-wing activists that want the city to be filthy. And one of the places that closed down the Starbucks was at Hollywood and Vine. If you don't know Hollywood and Vine, it's right next to the W Hotel. There's really nice apartments right next to it. It's like supposed to be one of the nicer areas of Hollywood that's not in the hills, like in a tourist trap area. And it's so gross and disgusting now that Starbucks can't even open their doors. And if Starbucks can't open their doors, it doesn't matter if they close down their chain. Who it does matter, people like myself, I take it personally because I used to work in Hollywood, like not in the hills where the rich people live, where the families live. And it's like more a hustle and bustle out in the tourist area. I would have to walk to work. I worked at a print shop 20 blocks every single day. And I'm an optimistic person, right? So I'm always thinking to myself, like, hey, I'm making the most of it. I'm in Hollywood, like anything is possible. Like I came from an area that's a smaller town. Nobody really does stuff like that. So I was just happy to be there. But I started noticing it was getting like worse and worse. It was always bad, but it just everywhere I would go, whether it be my gym or Subway, I'd start to see like security guards pop up. And I'm like, why is there security there now? It's because it's not safe anymore and they need a security guard. I'd be seeing crazier and crazier stuff. And it was just weird to me because nobody cared. I was like, this is not normal. I'm not acting like this has to be like the safest place in the world, but it's literally turning into like a garbage dump and nobody cared. Streets I used to walk down to work, now they're filled with tents when they weren't 3 years ago. And it felt like just nobody cared. It was just the strangest thing. So now you have, this nice area, or what was once a nice area, they can't even keep a Starbucks open. So before, without rambling, because I do want to get to the maybe more important stories, but if that affects Starbucks so bad that they can't even keep their doors open, think about people like myself when I was broke in the city that had to walk to work. Think of families. They always act like they care about minorities. This is a heavily Hispanic area. Not that it matters, because every ethnicity matters in America, but the same political party that cares so much about you, immigrants and small business owners, that's the people who suffer the most. Because if Starbucks can't keep their doors open, what do you think of the mom and pop shop? What do you think of the family owned business? What do you think of the average person who has to live in these quote unquote shithole cities that are literally turning into shitholes? Not because the people there are bad or I'm so hippie and dippy. I'm just saying something that was once nice can't even keep a Starbucks open. And I take it personally because as all this is going on, LA County is now talking about bringing back mask mandates. This is where their priorities are at. Literally, it's just turning into a human dump. And they're like, hey, address me by my pronouns and, let's force masks on people. So now if you live in Hollywood and Vine and you want to walk into a bank in a couple weeks, probably it's going to be like, hey, sir, you don't have a bandana on your face. You don't look like a criminal in a gang. Okay. And then you put a bandana over your face like you're a criminal. And they're like, okay, now you can go in because we're fighting COVID. Do you get what I'm saying? Psychologically, they're getting everyone to dress like criminals used to dress and put bandanas over their face to hide their identity to fight a virus when they already have quadruple vaccinations and they're still getting sick. It's like, it's literal lunacy world. And I like to point this out real quick. Because, yes, I do criticize Trump and Republicans because in many ways they do appear, to, in my opinion, to just be like controlled opposition, running people in circles like Tom and Jerry. But make no mistake, there's nothing more inverted than the life and the mind of a modern day Democrat, because it's like you can't address these massive issues that affect normal people and people who live in your city. And you're more worried about your feelings, your pronouns, and, putting a mask on somebody's face, treating them like they're a captured prisoner of war to fight a virus while people are getting fatter and you just don't seem to care. It's like pesticides, don't care. crappy ingredients that are illegal in Japan and Europe, don't care. People getting fatter, don't care. Our country's just gobbling up pills more than any other country because Big Pharma just has a vice grip on America, don't care. But the real way we're going to fight is in your declining shithole cities. We're going to force you to dress like a criminal in order to fight COVID-19. Wake up, folks, because it's just totally, totally backwards. On that note, I do want to talk about gas prices that are like 650 in California. It's just absolutely ridiculous. They're telling us that it's because of Putin's price hike, but like Tucker and AMLO pointed out, prices are lower in Mexico. If it's this international thing, why are certain prices higher or lower? Because it's not just Putin, it's not just the invasion, it's also the Western response to the invasion. It's our sanctions, it's our short-sightedness of shutting down pipelines and trying to get away from oil while we're starting an essential like soft war with Russia. Maybe if you're going to start a war with Russia and just really, push all these sanctions, maybe you should have thought of the 5D chess of what would happen, but they don't think about it. They send $50 billion to Ukraine, 40, 50, $60 billion. Zelensky wants more money all the time. We're just funneling money over there. It's like, is that going to have an impact? Well, AMLO apparently is spending billions on figuring out how to lower oil prices. We're sending our money to Ukraine and Biden's giving our money to Asia and Europe. Very weird stuff. So I wanted to just play this other clip because Tucker did a good compilation of all the times Biden's like, as long as it takes, as long as it takes. As an American citizen who watched 20 years of Afghanistan war, trillions of dollars spent, and when it's all said and done, we ended up with a sloppy exit, you know what I'm saying, and gave a bunch of stuff to the Taliban, which we claim to be fighting for 20 years. Here's Joe Biden saying, as long as it takes. It's like he just doesn't have a care in the world. Like, it's just like, who cares? Maybe it'll take 20 years like the Afghanistan war and we'll end up like losing the war, but whatever. I mean, that's what he thinks, I guess.
For as long as it takes. Does it mean indefinite support from the United States or Ukraine? Or will there come a time when you have to say to President Zelensky that the United States cannot support his country any longer? Thank you.
We're going to support Ukraine as long as it takes.
Sorry, I'm going to play that clip again. I just had to cut it off because it's like they're literally asking, like, is there ever going to be a time that you're going to tell Zelensky no? Like, where's Zelensky's sugar daddy? He can just be like 5 billion, 10 billion. I need 20 billion more. We're giving billions of dollars to their economy while our economy is looking like crap. And they're asking, like, is there ever going to be a time to say no to Zelensky? Just as a leader of a country, you want to let him know. It's like, hey, maybe you're our ally. We're helping you now, but you don't want to take advantage of us. Of course, Zelensky's taking advantage of us. Of course, Ukraine's taking advantage of us. Of course, everyone's taking advantage of us because we're such pushovers. But it's like the fact that he just looks there and says, oh, there's never going to be a reason, then what's the point of being the president of the United States? Why don't you step down and just let Zelensky run the country? If you don't even have a backbone or a spine to at least draw some sort of line in the sand, $1 trillion, $5 trillion. Oh, no, it's an unlimited blank check to the fraudulent puppet actor producer who acted and produced his way right into, the top position in the country. Just unbelievable watching it back. But here, sorry about that.
For as long as it takes. Does it mean indefinite support from the United States or Ukraine? Or will there come a time when you have to say to President Zelensky that the United States cannot support his country any longer? Thank you.
We're going to support Ukraine as long as it takes. We are going to stick with Ukraine, and all of the alliance are going to stick with Ukraine as long as it takes.
The war has pushed prices up. They could go as high as $200 a barrel, some analysts think. How long is it fair to expect American drivers and drivers around the world to pay that premium for this war?
As long as it takes. So Russia cannot, in fact, defeat Ukraine and move beyond Ukraine.
Future generations will look at that tape and many tapes like it with their jaws open. As long as it takes, whatever the cost for Ukraine.
It's just unbelievable. He just doesn't care. I want to talk about the Ukraine-Russia situation, and then I have a lot of other stuff to cover and some graphics I want to show you. I actually took pictures of all the US dollar versus the pound, the ruble, Japanese currency, Chinese currency, just to give you guys an idea that how the US dollar is doing. I think a lot of people aren't paying attention. Not that they have to. I just figured it would be interesting for you guys. But on that note with the Ukraine-Russia war, who's winning the war, right? Here's my perspective as someone who's never been to Russia or Ukraine. It's hard to really tell for me because the media doesn't tell the truth. It's like if Trump's up in the polls, they're going to be like, he's down in the polls. It's like, it's this thing where they just are treating Putin like he's the next Hitler, and they're not really willing to budge at all on the narrative that they're pushing. So it's hard to really tell who's winning. I'm guessing probably Putin, since they've been really quiet. I tried to Google like just to see what mainstream media, and like a month ago, they were like, Ukraine's really crushing. And then like recently, the last couple of weeks, they've been real quiet, like, it depends who you really ask. So I'm guessing that Ukraine's not doing very well. And it makes sense. I mean, Russia's this massive country with a massive military. Ukraine's way smaller. They used to, be kind of joined at one point or a lot closer. And then the West is just giving them money and stuff, but they're not really like fully joining the war, which they're not giving them a no-fly zone. They're not using the US military, which I'm glad about. But I'm just saying it's not like we're trying to win the war. It almost seems like we're these bankers that are just trying to finance the war on both sides. Because if you look at Russia's still getting a lot of money from our allies, right? Because we're so intertwined with the international community now that it's just hard to go cold turkey away from this stuff. So our prices are skyrocketing, but there's a lot of countries like Germany and others that just can't afford to go cold turkey. So we're funding money, whether we believe it or not. We're giving money to Europe, giving money to NATO, this and that. And then our allies are giving money and buying stuff from Russia. And then we're funneling a bunch of money to Zelensky. So this is my take on the Ukraine thing. I can't really tell who's winning. I'm guessing Russia since the media's been quiet on it, but I know we're losing. And also, normies that just watch like Mark Levin or like boomer liars like Ted Cruz, or maybe just left wingers who watch CNN and put a Ukraine flag in the bio. It's kind of like this bipartisan brainwashing that's going on Fox News and CNN. But normies think, oh, we're going to funnel all our money to Ukraine, be broke for a while, lose millions upon billions upon trillions of dollars, let everyone's 401k go down, suffer, like gas prices go up, everything. We're going to implode our own economy, but we're going to fight Putin and we're going to beat Putin. And we need to stop Putin from taking over Europe and the world because he's like Hitler, reincarnated. And like, that's what they think they're doing because I don't know, maybe they listen to somebody. But in my opinion, what we're doing is we're actually hurting Ukraine, ourselves, Europe. And I believe actually that we're helping Russia because in general, I don't think we're even winning the war. I don't think we're even trying to win the war. And if you look at how many people died in Ukraine, it's quite a bit. It's a lot more than zero. Let's just put it that way. If you look at all the destruction of Ukraine, all of the property and, key parts of the country that they're losing, and even the media is admitting they're losing, it doesn't look like it's going very well for them. So my point is this. At the very beginning of the war, it's just like with Trump. They don't tell the truth about Putin. I'm not saying Putin's your best friend. He doesn't care about you. I could guarantee you that. He cares more about Russians. I think he's a leader of Russia. I know this is a crazy concept for people. Putin leads Russia. He cares about Russians. Maybe that's why they hate him so much. Maybe they wish he was just like a Stalin and he'd just kill millions of people. But he actually likes his people and his heritage, which is like baffling to people that hate themselves, hate the world, hate the country, and don't respect anything. On that note, he laid out before they banned him off social media, he laid out principles of like, I don't want to take over all of Ukraine. I'm just looking at Donbass, Crimea, just a few things. He was calling atrocities going on there. And there's a lot of Russians there because Russia and Ukraine are so close and they have a mutual history. There's a lot of different opinions in Ukraine. There's people that are Russian and pro-Russia. There are people that are Ukrainian and pro-Ukraine and they don't like Russia. So it's a mixed bag. And he laid out these points of what he wanted to avoid a real big war. And instead of making a deal with him, this is just my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. That's totally fine. Zelensky would have been better off if he actually cared about his people, made a deal with Putin and been like, listen, I'm not like, it doesn't mean you have to like love Putin, but it's like, do you want to drag this out for 10 years, lose tens and hundreds of thousands of people, millions upon billions of dollars, and, just destroy your country and lose some of your biggest cities and stuff? Or do you want to just, be like, okay, fine, you could have that. They're Russians anyway, and we're going to keep this and just leave us alone. But he wanted NATO to stop expanding. He wanted, Ukraine to stop working so much with the West, and just like one other thing. And because this is where I differ from the Ukraine flag in the bio, if America didn't offer $50 billion and tens of billions of dollars in weapons and all this stuff to Zelensky, Zelensky would have been screwed and been like, okay, I got to strike a deal with Putin because that's all I have. In my opinion, our aid to Ukraine is not only just going to completely corrupt people, where it's even in mainstream media reporting that we don't know where the weapons are going. This sounds like ISIS, Al Qaeda all over again. Oh, we're giving weapons to rebel groups and we don't know where they're going. You really want to start a war in Russia? A war in Ukraine and in Europe? Just keep giving weapons to to the corrupt country of Ukraine and not even tracing them. And maybe they'll end up in the hands of rebel groups and terrorists like always. And then we're going to be like, oops, in 5 years, oops, we started a war in Europe and there's all these massive weapons they didn't have before. So they're not even tracing where the weapons are going. We're funneling all this money to them. So now Zelensky's emboldened, and instead of listening and like trying to strike a deal, we even strike deals. We talk all this trash about Saudi Arabia in the media. Oh, Saudi's so corrupt, blah, blah, blah. But then you see Joe Biden goes over there, Trump puts his hand on the weird crystal ball. There are allies. And, so it's like we could talk all this shit in the media, but at the end of the day, we need to strike a deal with Saudi Arabia because they're our ally. Same with countries like, Europe and Germany. We not countries like Europe, continents like Europe, but you get what I'm saying? There's this weird game that they play where they act like they hate each other, but then they work together. So when it comes to Ukraine and Russia, Zelensky acts like Putin doesn't even exist. He's like, I'm Martin Luther King, I'm Rosa Parks, I'm I'm Malcolm X, like I'm George Washington. He goes to Israel and he compares it to the Holocaust. Like he's an actor. Literally, he's literally an actor. He's an actor, producer, puppet that made a show with his own production company that put him as the president. Then he won president because he brainwashed everybody with the television show. And then his production studio doubled as his political party and political organization. Guys, it's been an operative from the day one. You know what I'm saying? Do you know very many production studios that also double as like a political party? You think this was just random? Of course not. But in general, it's like he gets on stage and instead of being like, okay, this is what Putin says, this is what I say, and here's what I'm going to do about it, he's just acting the whole time. That's why he's annoying. He's just like, I'm Rosa Parks, I'm George Washington, I'm Abe Lincoln, I am World War II, and he goes to Israel and it's like, it's as bad as the Holocaust. Like he's just pandering and acting to every single country to just take our money. So this is the point I'm getting. Normies think giving all our money to Ukraine is saving Ukraine and fighting Putin. We've helped the ruble. The ruble's doing better than it's done in 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So their currency is doing better against the United States currency. Russia's taking over major parts of Ukraine. Tens of thousands, if not more. I don't know how many people, thousands, tens of thousands of Ukrainians are dying. I'm not sure. They're losing their people. Putting a Ukraine flag in your bio is the same thing as putting a BLM fist in your bio. You're pretending to help black people, but you're actually destroying their neighborhoods and destroying their future. It's the same thing. You're acting like you love Ukraine, but you're actually killing Ukrainians and hurting Ukraine. So I actually believe that we're helping Putin. Funneling money to Zelensky is extending the war, sacrificing Ukrainians, sacrificing the Western world, sacrificing Europe, sacrificing America, sacrificing your 401k, sacrificing your future, and you're not even going to win the war. So it's like, it's the same thing with Afghanistan. If I thought we could fight Al Qaeda and win, sure, of course. Yeah, I want to, let's put democracies all over the world. It's not true, guys. They lied to you. There's no democracy in Iraq and Afghanistan. We're killing Gaddafi to make it better. It's like, the U.S. wants to do what the U.S. wants to do. Listen, I'm a United States citizen. I love my country. I'm grateful. I'm appreciative. I'm not acting like we're all so bad because at a certain point, I do think we were a righteous country and we hope to get back to that. And I even think, with all the criticism that Trump did a good job in Syria. I think he did way better than Obama and Hillary and way better than George Bush. And I think Trump deserves credit for that. But of course, you can't win a Nobel Peace Prize unless you're either Obama bombing 7 countries or one of Jeffrey Epstein's friends or something. So, they don't really care with those awards. It's the same reason why. Never mind. But long story short, before I move to the next topic that I want to show you guys, normies think that giving money to Ukraine is saving Ukraine. I think it's literally sacrificing Ukraine. It's literally the worst of all worlds. We suffer, our bank accounts suffer, our 401k suffer, our kids suffer, our families suffer, our future suffer, our economy suffers, our gas prices are suffering, Ukrainians are suffering, Ukrainians are dying, Ukraine is losing its country, and Putin's ruble's doing good and he's taking over Ukraine. It's literally the worst of all worlds because we're not actually helping Ukraine enough to win the war. If you watch CNN, there's one thing that they'll tell you the truth about it, and some of this left-wing media, I don't know if CNN specifically saying it, but a lot of left-wingers are like, we're not really helping Ukraine. We're not really helping Ukraine. We need a no-fly zone. Even neocons in the Republican Party. I don't agree that we need to do that. I disagree with that. But they are telling you the truth about one thing is we're not really helping Ukraine. It's like if we really want to help them win the war, we'll actually do stuff like a no-fly zone. Yeah, that's actually true because America has this massive military and we're just like throwing them our money. It's like, yeah, here's some weapons. We'll not trace them. They're like, can you give us a no-fly zone? No. Can you send your military? No. So what are we doing? We're just extending a proxy war for what? Decades that Russia's winning because we're not actually helping that much. And I don't think we should help overly much because I don't think we should sacrifice our own country and our own soldiers for Zelensky in Ukraine. I think the best thing for him to do would have been to strike a deal early on. Sure, just like the Crimea thing. I'm not saying they don't want it, but it's like you got to weigh out your odds. It's like what do you want? Do you want to fight Russia and potentially lose half your country, or do you want to strike a deal, give them the territory that makes logistical sense anyway, because there's a lot of pro-Russian Russians there and you don't even like those people and you're fighting them anyway? Or do you want to suckle up money from NATO and the West and, sacrifice tens of thousands of your people, sacrifice the Western world and America and end up losing? There's not even signs that they're even going to win the war in the first place. So Ukraine flag in your bio, which many right wingers are falling for because they watch frauds like Mark Levin and listen to frauds like Dan Crenshaw. It's like the worst of all worlds. And just like with COVID-19, I'm not saying, people aren't getting sick just for the loser gremlin fact checkers who are like little disheveled pizza bagel eaters who, act like they're the, gods of information. If you're watching this, go to hell. You guys are human scum. You lied about me. And I will be making a video soon to expose what fraudulent two-faced liars you are. Fact check your frauds. Fact check. Go back in your whole little gremlin. But in general, if the fact checkers are watching, I'm not saying people aren't getting sick, but the virus didn't cause the lockdowns. The politicians did. The virus didn't sacrifice our economy. The politicians' response to the virus did. That's a fact. So when you little gremlins try to come out of your little fact checker hole, to take my video down, even though it's true, just know I will make a video about you frauds, and it's going to be fantastic, and it's going to be accurate, and I hope you watch it, and I hope your soul sucks back into you, because I know you guys are like soulless little gremlin demons who work for like evil entities. But good luck with that. Good luck having a purposeless life, being a degenerate liar loser. I'm sure it's very satisfying. Now go eat your pizza bagels. It's lunchtime. Go on your 15-minute break. But get back because you got more deceiving to humanity to do. You got to watch my videos and track my Instagram and say, well, technically you told the truth on Instagram, but then I caught something else true you said on Facebook. So you guys are stalking me that much. Go away. Okay. Go to your little hole and do some jumping jacks. Okay. But in general, the same thing, just like with COVID-19. Oh, we imploded the economy. Oops. It's the same thing with the Russian invasion. It's like when, Putin did his thing with Crimea, the whole economy didn't collapse. It's because we didn't do as big of sanctions as we did when they did all this stuff. We started escalating the sanctions. It's like a chess game. So if you want to be completely accurate, Russia's Russia. I'm not saying they're perfect. NATO's encroaching further. We're lying. We're putting people in Ukraine. We have losers like Lindsey Graham flying to Ukraine in 2016, pretty much declaring war on Russia. I mean, we escalated this massively over the last 10 years. That happened. Putin got fed up. He invaded a specific unit or a specific area and then gave his ultimatum of this is what I want. And then instead of striking a deal with them, we funneled money to the puppet actor producer Zelensky and said, now we're going to put all these sanctions on you, but we're not energy independent enough in Europe and in America to do that, apparently, without the prices skyrocketing. So that's what happened. It's like Putin didn't cause the price hike. Our intervention escalated something. He escalated it. We escalated it more, and then he escalated it back. So it was our response to his invasion that made it worse. If we didn't put all these crazy sanctions on him, he wouldn't have done all this stuff with the gas with us. So it's like they take no accountability for anything and just constantly blame Trump, Republicans, like people who live in Missouri or Alabama, and or they blame Putin. And it's like, oh, you must be a Russian bot. You must be a Russian bot if you don't like Hillary Clinton. Fact checkers said that there's no other explanation to not think that Biden's a young, he's faster than Lance Armstrong on a bike. Nobody's faster than Biden. I mean, Biden's like Lance Armstrong meets Neil Armstrong. He went to the moon on his bike. It's real. Don't be a conspiracy theorist. Biden is these checkers do, and they act like if you don't like Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden, like something's wrong with you. You know, this is how they're such scum. I hope they're watching this live stream. Media, you are such low-life scum. Trump annoys me now. I don't even care that you guys dislike Trump, but you're such scum about it. You don't tell the truth. It's like all gossipy TMZ rumors. You're willing to like lie and destroy the country just because you hate Orange Man. It's like, what are you guys doing? You know, it's like, I mean, if you like Bernie Sanders more than Hillary Clinton, what are you working for Putin? And like, you're talking to like 23-year-olds who don't even know where Russia is on a map, and you're calling them Putin's puppets. You know, like, you know, oh, if Trump wins, then why do people like Trump? It's like, do I need to explain it for the thousandth time? You still don't realize why people like Trump more than you? Maybe because Seattle, you know, Los Angeles, Philadelphia, and DC and Portland are now too dangerous and disgusting for even Starbucks to open their doors. If Starbucks can't open their doors, what do you think that's doing to normal people? They're not sitting in the suburbs watching January 6th fan fiction, you know, with Anderson Cooper like you are. They sit in the suburbs like, I watch so much CNN that I just, this is the biggest topic in my lifetime. I just need to watch it like it's Batman. I just hope it never ends. The Orange Man. Orange Man bad. Like, it's like that's their whole lifestyle. And it's like, hey, I live in a city and it's literally so disgusting and crime filled that I can't even go to work. And they're like, well, just be more poor because we're gonna, you know, funnel money to an actor in the middle, you know, whatever. Such a joke. Speaking of something that's not a joke, I did a little compilation because a lot of people think the US dollar is doing bad. Gas prices are high, yes. Eventually, maybe the US dollar will do worse. Who knows? I think we're mishandling it, but it's still a powerhouse. And I want to show you how the US dollar, if you level it to other currencies, it's doing better than China, Japan, the pound, you know, the euro. It's doing better than almost everything except for Russia, which is fascinating. So the US dollar is skyrocketing. If you go over to Japan or you go over to Europe, you go to Euro. If you go to Europe and use the euro, you're getting a better rate than you've gotten in years. So it's just fascinating. I'll show you the chart so you can see for yourself. Let's see. So this is the US dollar against the pound sterling. You can see that it's up quite a bit this year. This is it against the Indian rupee. It's up against the Indian rupee this year. It's way up against Japanese yen. If you go to Japan, you'll be richer. China, we're doing better against China, the US dollar. Euro, we're almost at $1 equals 1 euro, which hasn't happened in a long, long time. And the only thing majestically that we're not doing better than is the Russian ruble. The Russian ruble recently has been crushing us, and it's doing better than it's done in like almost a decade. So I just find that fascinating. Let me know what you think in the comments about it. US dollar crushing against all our competitors except the people that we're fighting. I'm not saying they're purposely doing this, but it's like weapons contractors. When you start a war, weapons contractors kill it and they make a fortune. When you have a pandemic, you know, vaccine companies make a fortune. And coincidentally, the two currencies that seem to be doing great are the two countries fighting each other over Ukraine. Fascinating stuff. Before I get to comments, I'm going to put them up right now and try to get some good ones. Canada is still a psychotic vaccination segregation country. You can't get into Canada apparently without a Moderna, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, or perhaps AstraZeneca. I don't know. You get what I'm saying. COVID vaccine in many cases, because the definition of what vaccine was versus what this is doing doesn't seem to add up in my perspective, but I'm sure the little weasel gremlin fact checkers will come out of the hole to lie for Big Pharma. Did you guys get a check cut or something? Or are you guys just scumbags? I don't know. I speak to them now because I know they watch my videos because they fact checked me incorrectly on Instagram. I should really take them to court. If there's a good lawyer, any lawyers watching this, let me know, because these scumbags will lose like Alex Berenson beat Twitter because they're lying about me. I'm not stupid. I don't make mistakes on Instagram like that. And if I do, I correct myself. They're like, well, technically you told the truth, but we followed you to Facebook. So are you guys following me to Facebook? That's what you're doing, you little gremlins. But so a lot of players from the Kansas City Royals, I think 10 players, said that they're not going to Toronto because the Blue Jays are in Toronto. And a lot of MLB players are speaking up and saying, I'd rather miss the series than, you know, get my COVID vaccine. It's pretty fascinating. Oh, also, they did an emergency use authorization on the Novavax vaccine. It's now emergency use authorized. That'll be the fourth one, I think, in America. And I'm wondering what took that one so long. How come the Pfizer, the Moderna, the J&J was like and the Novavax one took the longest. I'm curious why that was, but anyway, just a few things. And obviously, God bless the Trump family. They had a death in the family. Ivana Trump, Trump's wife, I believe the mother of Don Jr., Eric, and Ivanka. It's said that she was found dead at the bottom of a staircase. Some authorities are saying cardiac arrest. Obviously, it's spurring a lot of theories. I'm not going to do that just to be respectful because I have literally no idea. All I know is what I read, and we'll wait for more information to see why perhaps she fell / maybe had some sort of cardiac arrest. Let's see. Someone said, daily reminder that currency is not money. Money is a commodity. I'm just going to read some comments. Let's see. Also, guys, I appreciate you so much. I've been traveling a lot this month, and I'll find. I mean, it's been good. It's nice to like get out of the house. But thank you to everybody on Patreon.com/RareTalk, and thank you to everybody on Facebook. I will do a Facebook supporter only live stream because I do appreciate you guys. When I'm on the go and I have this computer, it's a lot harder for me to like triple task, and I don't have as quick as an internet. So I try to just be safe because I don't want to like screw up and overload this thing. Someone said U.S. is running multiple bio blanks in Ukraine. Fact check. That's not true, even though Victoria Nuland pretty much said that in front of Congress. So, we'll let the fact checkers take care of that. They're like, fact check, it's comfortable wearing a mask on your face. It's better. It's better to look like this. LA, this is going to really help your city. Just looking like this with a mask on your face. Aren't you excited to put your masks back on? 4 vaccines. Fauci just keeps getting sick. And the only way to really fight the COVID vaccine as your city's falling apart is to put a bandana over your face like a criminal and walk into a bank. It's like, oh my gosh. Whatever. Someone said, when will I come to Florida? Maybe Tampa. Well, I like to be a little smooth with my moves because I don't like to just announce where I'm at all the time. It's not the era to do that. I like my privacy, but a little birdie told me that maybe I will be in Tampa soon. Maybe I will be trying to conduct some interviews. Maybe I almost got banned from one of the largest conservative events, but they decided not to ban me. I'm not sure. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe they realized that I have a big mouth and it would have been a PR nightmare. Who knows? But I'm apparently not banned now, which I'm glad about. But I will be conducting some interviews. I would love to interview Ted Cruz peacefully, respectfully. Hey, Ted Cruz, since you pretend to be this patriot, why did you support vaccination segregation in 2021, a year after the pandemic? Why were you trying to push legislation that said only vaccinated people could take their masks off of airplane? Why are you such a coward, sir? I would have to look down to Ted Cruz because he's like a little gremlin. I'd be like, why are you such a coward? He's like, I'm a patriot, dude. I'm a patriot. I give my money to Ukraine. Zelensky's my friend. I'm a patriot cowboy. Yeah, I'm fighting Beto O'Rourke. And I'm like, ugh, disgusting. Now I got to go take a shower just talking to such a little gremlin. I'm just kidding. Sorry, that's not nice. I'm sorry. That's not nice at all. Ted Cruz is a hero. He's a hero. Like Enrique Iglesias. Maybe I'll sing a song to Ted Cruz. I will be your hero, baby. Ted Cruz will give your money away. Oh, yeah. Ted Cruz will give your money to Zelensky forever. You can take my 401k away. I want all my money to go to Zelensky in Israel. And then they'll be like, they're like, Anomaly, you can't come into the event. I'm like, I love Israel and Ukraine. Give my money to Zelensky and Netanyahu. Please send my money to foreign countries. I repent. I get it, you guys. I get it now. I get what I have to do to go to CPAC Israel. I got to be friends with Ben Shapiro and just give my money to foreign countries. I'm so sorry. And then they're like, that's right. That's right. In order to be a patriot, you got to give your money to Zelensky and Israel. And I'm like, oh. I thought this was about America and the Constitution. They're like, no, dummy. We just pretend to be about the Constitution to fool those Republicans. But then we just do exactly what Mitt Romney does in a cowboy hat. And I'm like, I thought we really cared about stuff. They're like, no, idiot. You're just supposed to pretend to care. That's what we do as politicians. We play both sides. We take donor money, then we pretend we don't take donor money. We take money from Pfizer like Trump did, then we just pretend we don't. We hire pharmacy lobbyists and we pretend like we're draining the swamp. You're not actually supposed to care about Americans. I'm like, my bad. I don't know what I was doing. And I want to say this too, real quick, because I'm not trying to be rude. I'm a very grateful person. I appreciate we have 1,455 people here. People keep saying there's like 600 people. I'm running 2 accounts at once, so I see both numbers. But in general, it's like I'm grateful for your support. I'm grateful for my audience. I'm so grateful. I'm not taking it for granted at all. I'm grateful every day. But sometimes people been getting on me recently, like in the comment sections, and it's very minor, but people are getting like real chirpy with me, and I'm a real person. I'll say what I believe. I'm not gonna ignore it. People are like, do this, do that. Listen, I will take suggestions because I do listen to my audience and I get almost all my news from what I see. So it's like if you're in my sphere of what I'm seeing, you're part of my news aggregation. So I do appreciate people giving me tips and stuff. But when people try to bully me and demand that I do something like, you're a shill if you don't talk about this right now. And it's like, here's what I want to say to you. I don't work for a big corporation. I'm not somebody who went to school and wanted to do this. I'm not saying I don't like it and I'm not qualified. I think I'm good at what I do. What I'm saying is I'm a citizen journalist, basically. I'm a citizen content creator. I went from, working in social media on the corporate side and doing hip hop music to doing what I was passionate about, which was doing better reporting than the media. I don't have to do this. And I'm not like throwing a fit or anything, but it's like, if you think you're better than me at it, do it. I don't want you not to do it. I want you to do it. I did all this stuff. I got almost 1 billion views. You know what I'm saying? I've amassed an audience of 2 million over 2 million followers with no advertising, with no PragerU, with nobody behind me. I'm not knocking anybody else, but it's like I really built this from the ground up. So if you want to suggest something to me, that's fine. If you have some good points, but if you want to start treating me like garbage and demand and try to bully me into being like you, dude, go do your own stuff. There's millions of people making content. Be your own citizen journalist. Some people recently are like, if you don't talk about the Freemasons right now, you're a shill. It's like, bro, you make a video on the Freemasons. There was a guy, if that's your passion, there was a guy that was like an American or Australian Idol or one of the idols. It's like American Idol in a foreign country. He claims to blow the alarm on Freemasons, and he did like a 4-hour video on it. It's actually very fascinating. So it's like, it's not my expertise. Freemasons in general, on a small scale, it's like a church, where it's just like broing out. On a big scale, it's like comparing Catholics to like the Pope. It's like the average Catholic is just hanging out in a church. The Vatican is like on some shit. It's the same thing with the Masons, but it's like, they're very good at being secretive. All I know is Jimmy Kimmel used to, do his show in Hollywood out of a giant Freemason temple. That was bizarre. But it's like, if you have like more info and that's your passion, you could do it. I'm not saying it's like I talk about what I know. I talk about what I could prove. Things that I'm, not sure about, I'm not sure about. But, there's a lot of things that are like very mysterious that I kind of could see what's going on, but not completely. But it's like, if that's your expertise, more than me, feel free to make your own videos. And I'm not being rude. It's like, I do this every day. I take an hour and a half and I put together a compilation of what I'm passionate about. I do very similar intros to people on television, except I don't have a team of 20 people and I'm not getting paid millions of dollars. I do it all by myself. I'm my own editor. I'm my own person. So I'm just being very real with you. If you have a suggestion, that's great. If you have some info that you could show me, but don't yell at me. Don't treat me like garbage. Don't try to like threaten, bully me with shit. It's like, that's not going to work with me. You got a computer just like I do. You got a laptop and a cell phone just like I do. Make your own videos. And that's not like it's just like I do this. You can too, hopefully it's inspirational. Let me see. I'm going to put this. What do I think about the Georgia Guidestones being blown up? I'm glad you asked, because I wanted to say this too. Sometimes I'll do a live stream and it's like, I'm doing things quickly. So I like to be thoughtful about it. But sometimes, just like everyone else, I change my opinion. I learn more. A lot of times people give me feedback and I actually can be like, that's a good point. So with the Georgia Guidestones, a lot of people were saying after I did the videos, like, oh, I think it's sketchy. It could be this, it could be that. It is kind of sketchy that they got rid of it so quickly. But I understand. I could see both sides of it. On one hand, someone could have blown it up and they wanted to just get rid of it because it was uneven and it could have fell and they just thought it was a safety hazard. On another hand, I did feel like it is kind of weird if you think about it, why they just destroyed it. Because say it really was uneven, wouldn't it have made more sense to, like, you know, taken it down gracefully and tried to like put it somewhere? You know what I'm saying? Like, you could have just like secured the things that weren't broken, put them horizontal on the ground or something, and put them in a museum somewhere, right? If they really cared. It is really sketchy that they just destroyed it completely. Because even if it was semi-destroyed, to me it would make more sense to try to preserve what's preserved and then also dig up the time capsule. So, I mean, I don't really have a huge stance on that blowing up. I guess basically it's just like, it's very odd. Just everything about it's very odd. And I don't know. I guess like your opinion matters just as much as mine. I don't think it's really. I don't really know that much. This is a great question. Thank you, LC said. I shared your USA product website this week, wondering if you're still adding to it or updating to it. Yeah, we're actually trying to hire somebody because we don't really make money on that site, but we did usaproductsonly.com. Me and two friends, we all do other things like as our main job. So we are planning on getting someone to update it a lot more. I think there's like a couple hundred businesses now, USA businesses, a lot of like small businesses, your businesses. So yeah, we do plan on updating that. It's just been tough because we don't have like a budget. We're funding it all ourselves, and we're all pretty busy. But we are planning on doing that. We're running behind. So yeah, absolutely, we're going to keep that website going, updating, all that. Appreciate it. What happened to the time capsule? I'm not sure. But what I was talking about with the Georgia Guidestones is like sometimes I see people in the comments that like disagree with me, and I like it. Or like one time people were like, talk about the DeSantis bill that said this. And I'm like, yeah, talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Or sometimes people are like, Anomaly, I disagree with you on the Georgia Guidestones. I think this happened. It's like, if you have better proof or better insight than me, I'm not mad at it. I just don't like when people are jerks to me. But overall, it is what it is. I'm not like a snowflake. I can handle it. I'm just saying, I just speak my reality. But it's like sometimes I miss something, or sometimes you have something better to add where it's like, and it becomes the top comment. My audience, I'm not bragging about you guys, but I'll brag about you guys. I think my audience is pretty smart. So it's like, if I miss something, or I say something that seems a little off to a lot of people, the top comment will be like, hey, Anomaly, you should have said this. Or, we have a pretty smart audience. So it's like the Georgia Guidestones, I changed my opinion about it like 7 times because I'm like, I don't know. It is kind of bizarre that they didn't at least keep some of the pieces, right? There could be many possibilities. So it's like maybe they hated it, and maybe the people who run that county in Georgia were like, good riddance, just destroy it. Who cares? Maybe they just used it as an excuse to destroy it because they're conservative and they don't like it. I don't know. Maybe something else. I just think probably the construction company in that county. I don't know much about that county, but it's your guess is as good as mine, to be honest. I can't speak for everybody, but I think that's part of the reason people like me too, is like, in some ways I do good work. That's why people watch me. It's like I'm putting this compilation together. I think I do very unique takes on a lot of stuff, and I really compile it and do a lot of like tough research, and people appreciate that. They're like, Anomaly's good and he's honest. But also I try not to talk down to people. You know what I'm saying? Like I could act like I'm, so many truthers are like, I'm the smartest truther in Trutherville. Nobody's as truthery as me. And it's like, I don't, I definitely think, I don't think I'm stupid. I'm not trying to put myself in the lowest percentile of truthers, but at the same time, I do what I do. I know what I know. And there's a lot of gray areas. The whole, like, every theory is a gray area in some sense, where it's like, there's a lot of truth to it. But if everybody knew everything about it, it wouldn't be a theory. It would just be like a known fact. So I think people like the fact that I leave the door open sometimes. Like, a lot of truthers are like, I'm your authority. I'm the god of Trutherville, and if you disagree with me, you're a shill. And I'll be like, when it comes to the Georgia Guidestones collapsing, I think I'm one of the more honest voices because I'm just telling the truth. Like, nobody really knows for sure unless they went there and did a whole research. Like, someone's like, I know it got struck by lightning for sure. And it's like, no, you don't. You're just assuming that a bomb at night wouldn't, or an explosion at night wouldn't have made the light brighter. Like, you're guessing unless you're really good at that. I don't know. But at the same time, it is weird they didn't show people doing it. I don't know. I just try to like call it like I see it. And if I don't know, there's no shame in being like, this is not my strong suit. I'm not. If I really cared about the Georgia Guidestone and I wanted to be the most right, I would have drove my ass or flew my ass to Georgia and been on the scene to, interview people like a journalist. But I guess I didn't care enough to really have a hardline stance on it. Someone said Anomaly has an interesting follower base, pretty overall based. We got a lot of different people though, because I feel like there are a unique. Like I'm not so hardline about stuff. I have a lot of people on the fence that follow me. I think if you're kind of on the fence, I think that I'm easier to tolerate than someone just screaming at you all the time. I think energetically, I'm easier to listen to because I'm not so like negative. Like it's like Biden screwing up the world and we're all doomed. Like who wants to hear that all the time? Or Trump screwing up the world, we're all doomed. Like the truth is, Biden is screwing up the country, but it's like it could be worse. So it is what it is. Vote how you vote. Do what you can to make the country better. But what's the point of like freaking out all the time? Have you ever heard somebody say that on Fox News? No, they're always freaking everyone out all the time. Like I like Tucker. I just watched his 19-minute segment. It's fantastic. He's the only person on television that I look at and say he's one of the best. Like internet, you took the internet and the television together. Tucker's one of the best with everybody. He just is. Like his segments are good. He's got writers, I think. He's got a crew, of course, but he's good. And I'm like, that was impressive. I'm very hard to impress. I'm a tough critic in my opinion. It's like if it's I'm just honest. I'm like, that's not that good. But Tucker's 19-minute segment that I play clips from, fantastic. Like without Fox News, he would find a way to, have a huge audience, in my opinion. Someone said Tucker is CIA, dude. I mean, if you think so, if you have proof or something, you can make a video on it. But I'm not going to accuse people of being an agent unless I know they are for sure. But if you think he is or he is, that's on you. But his segment was good. Watch his 19-minute segment and tell me that wasn't good. You could say that or you could prove that if you can, but I'm not going to trip on it. Someone said Tucker good, Trump bad. I mean, everyone has their moments, though. I think that's just how it is. Like everyone has their moments where they kind of disappoint you, and you disagree with them. It's tough. So there's been takes from Tucker that I didn't like, but I would say overall, I do think Tucker seems to have more in line with me than Trump, at least over the last 2 years. But I don't know. Someone said ticker on video is you're trying to trick me, but do I know who Tucker's dad is? No. I know from what I read, he was like wealthy when isn't it like Swanson or something, the food company? Didn't his parents own like a microwavable food company or something? But I don't know if that's the right story or not. All right, I'll read a few more and then I'm gonna take off. Appreciate you guys for listening. Thank you guys. Thank you to everybody tuning in on Dream Rare Podcast on audio. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everything. I'm trying to diversify and just make it easier to access, easier to listen to if you're on the road driving or at work or something. So Dream Rare Podcast, spelled how you think it's spelled, Dream Rare Podcast. It's available everywhere. And if you're listening to the audio and you're wondering what are certain things he's saying, I can't see what he's talking about, feel free to watch my live streams. They go live on Facebook and YouTube. They're also on Rumble and BitChute afterwards. It just takes a couple hours to get up there. And if you want to catch them live, follow me on Telegram at Dream Rare Chat, all one word on Telegram. And if I just confused you with all that, all of my links are at dreamrarelinks.com. If you go to dreamrarelinks.com, you can find all my links on like a little link tree thing to everything, including my shop, dreamrare.com. Someone said I'd like Made by Jim Bob to be on here again. Yeah, I'd love to have Jim Bob on my podcast. I'll definitely chat with him sometime. He's a fun guy to talk to. If you guys have noticed, I've been traveling a lot. I'll explain later what I'm doing, but I like to just not announce it's just weird to me when everyone like telegraphs where they're going all the time. But over the last month, I've been getting more gigs. I did one music show. I did 2 events. I hosted an event, and I also just spoke on a panel and did a show. So I guess 2 music shows, 2 events. I'm going to another event soon. So it's good to travel. I appreciate it, but also it kind of hurts my workflow a little bit because I'm always so tapped in with my like regular computer. So I have this MacBook, but it's not as good as my regular one. It's not as fast. I need to get a faster one or something. So it's great to be on the road. It's great to see my family and visit family and people I care about. It's great to like do stuff in person and meet people. But work wise, it's harder to do podcasts and it's harder to like, do interviews and stuff when I'm on the road. So I'll have more people on my podcast soon. I got a lot of great guests. It's been like a hectic 2 months, but it's been fun. It's all gravy. It's just I gotta work at a different speed when I'm on the road. All right, let me try to find two more comments or something. Let's see. Someone said in 2017, President Trump appointed Jay Clayton from Alibaba. I couldn't read the whole comment, but I'll look into that. Let's see. Someone said safe and happy travels. Thank you. Do I believe the devil controls the world? Not everybody in the world, but I mean the world is pretty wicked. I think our society is pretty evil. If you go, I used to live in LA. If you drive through LA and you look at the billboards, everything is like so demonic. It's like it's in your face. It's not like even if you're not religious, you're like, this is I'm not against advertisements, but like the advertisements in LA, it's just like so immoral, so corrupt, so like satanic. And then you have all, what is LA? It's like the main hub of where everybody broadcasts television and movies to the world. I think a lot of television is like dark magic. I mean, I'm not the one to ask that question because you're going to think I'm weird, but it's like, I'm not, I have bad habits too. I'm not trying to act like I'm holier than thou with everything. Like everybody does something that's not like to the books. Like I'm just being honest with you guys. I'm not one of these people that like measures my meals for calories. I'm not that guy. I try to work out. I try to exercise. I try to preach good health. I follow what I preach, but I'm honest. I'm not measuring my chicken and beef to the right. Like I'm just eating. I'm not a perfect person. But when it comes to TV, it creeps me out. I think TV's creepy. Everything about it's creepy. Fiction. I like sports. That's kind of my thing that I like because I think it's somewhat real. But like these like scripted shows and stuff, it creeps me out. You have like ex-CIA workers bragging about being script writers on Twitter and stuff. And I'm not saying every show's written by the ex-CIA people, but some are. And it's just like they have this agenda. Like I don't like evil shows. Like I don't like horror shows. I think it's like demonic. But this I don't watch movies. The last time I've watched a movie was like in the theaters probably like 6-7 years ago, maybe 8 years ago. Like this is how much I despise TV and movies. It just everything about it creeps me out. I don't like the idea of watching something fake. Maybe I'm weird for that reason. Like something about it just creeps me out. I like documentaries, I like based on true stuff, but like fake scripted horror drama, like it's just everything about it's just creepy to me. Like I know they're acting. I can't even get into it because I know it's fake. It's like maybe I'm weird. I don't know, but all that stuff. So do I think the devil runs the world? Kind of. Not everybody in it, not the whole thing, but I think our culture, our media, our society, I mean, advertisements, you watch television, it's just no wonder why everyone's on pills. Every commercial, do you have this? Do you have that? Do you have this? Does your heart hurt? Does your leg hurt? Does your side hurt? Does your bladder hurt? Do you have melanoma? Like they got all these flama. Do you have the flipping flama? Like everybody does everything. Someone said stop hating. I already prefaced it with I'm not a perfect person. I'm just telling you personally how I feel. I'm not judging you, but it's like everything in the commercials is disgusting. They're like nothing in the imagine a commercial like this is why they hate me so much because I tell the truth. It's like most people know at the bottom of their whole heart and soul where it's like you might have some sort of disease. I'm not a doctor, but like most people in America just need to exercise and eat better. If you exercise more and eat better and get in better shape, a lot of your problems, not all of them, but a lot of your problems go away. There is no television station that says eat better and exercise. Doctors don't even tell you. Doctors will throw 50 pills at you before they tell you that you should probably take care of yourself and a lot of your problems will go away. So television just creeps me out anyway because all the commercials are like, "Wah, wah, wah," and it's like people are just getting like pills and stuff. It's like, man, it's so crazy. Like, and I don't want any part of it. I don't even like hearing certain words. am a weird person that thinks that even watching commercials where they're talking about disease can't be good for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got better stuff. Like, if you read a book that's about fitness for 5 hours, or you watch 5 hours worth of commercials telling you that you're a diseased person and you need a bunch of pills, do you think that that has no impact on you? People will act like what I'm saying is weird, and they're like, "Oh, that's some magical food, creepy, weird stuff." Like, but it's like, think about it. Why do you know English? You know English because your family spoke English, or you learned it somewhere at school or in a book, or else you'd speak Chinese if your parents grew up speaking Chinese. It's like, what you put yourself through. Everything is about who you surround yourself by, what you're learning. So if you watch TV for 1,000 hours a year, and 100 hours of those are telling you that you're sick, how could that not have an impact on you? How can that not make you sicker? How could that not make you know what I'm saying? How could that not, that type of stuff, just like, I'm like so sensitive to it where I'm like, my goodness. But I'm just throwing it out there. Someone said stop hating. I'm not the one to talk to if you want to talk about like TV shows, for sure. I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm just being honest about how I feel. But I could just be like, I'm so much better than everybody because I don't watch TV. But then nobody would like me. If I did that, they'd be like, dude, I'm sure you do something that's not perfect. It's like, of course, yeah. I'm not one of these people that counts everything I'm doing all the time. I kind of just free flow through stuff and make mistakes like everyone. That's just how I feel. It's like people who don't like bacon, like, I just don't like the taste. It's like, I just don't like that. But I'm not trying to like act like a dick about it, just to be honest. Someone said I stopped watching TV 3 years ago to drag. Well, I'm gonna end on this note because I don't want to make this too long. But before even like my political, I guess, angle to it, the main thing, even before I knew I was like more conservative leaning, and like before Trump was even like a full on thing, when I started talking about politics, my one thing was this. It was like, I don't like the energy of it. I don't like how they talk to people. I don't like how fear-based and negative it is and divisive it is. So that was kind of my goal. It's like, can I tell the news? Can I report on things? Can I, first of all, right their wrongs and show how they're being deceptive? Can I combat Google and these massive corporations that are working with algorithms to hide information? But also, it's like the energy of it. I'm a energetic person where it's like the energy of the media is so bad. I like Tucker, some of his segments, but like the energy of like Fox News is even just like sometimes, or even all the news, Nate, it's just like the way they tell it. It's not what they're saying, because I agree with, to be honest, most of their politics, but like, how are you portraying it to people? Are you trying to calm people down? Are you trying to make people feel better? Are you trying to solve the problem? Can you solve the problem? Or are you just like yelling at people and just like freaking people out all the time? It's like, I get it. The world is crazy, but I could also spend an hour telling you how great the world is. I could be like, oh, I just went in the ocean and I just went for a jog. And, everybody in the country is not bad, even though it is being kind of somewhat ruined. There's also some better aspects to it. That's kind of like what I like to hear. And I don't like all the negative all the time. So that was like my original goal 4 or 5 years ago. So that's what it is. Someone said, tell the truth without the word salad. Here's what I want to say, bro. Let me see. Rob said, tell the truth without the word salad. Here, I'm going to end on this note, Rob. I don't have to be here, buddy. Okay. I'm not watching you. You're watching me. Okay. It's my show, my live stream. I could sit here for 5 hours or 5 minutes. You can suggest that. But when you try to demand that I do things, bro, unfollow me. I'm not begging you to be here. I actually don't even want you here anymore. You're not welcome here anymore. So it's like, you got to understand, I did this with my will. So many people want to talk. Dude, try to do what I did, work your ass off, achieve what I've achieved, get 1 billion views and make a difference and combat the media. Oh, you can't do it? Then shh. You don't like it? Click. The nerve of some people that think I'm some sort of robot or, like hologram that they could just talk trash to. It's like, I don't have to do any of this. If you think you can do it better than me, do it. I hope you do. I hope you are better than me. But here's the crazy part. People that are better than me respect what I'm doing because they know I'm great. People that are worse than me and could never do what I do, these are the people that talk the most. So it's like, if you could do better than me, I want you to do better. If you could do it more precise and do it in your way, but I'm doing 5 things at once. This is broadcasting to 5 different platforms, and then it's going to turn into a podcast where people like long form. So if you don't like it, Rob, bye bye. Like Instinct said, bye bye bye. You know, in the words of the great Lance Bass, who tried to go to the moon, bye 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 bye. That's it. You're out. Sometimes people say to me too, I like the shorter ones. I'm like, this is not me being rude, but I'm like, just watch the first 5 minutes. I'm not, if you want to get the gist of what I'm saying, you could watch it in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then we expand on things. We talk. I take user comments. You know what I'm saying? We go on tangents. Some people like it. I get that some people don't, but it's like, you get to be a part of the show. If usually I keep it brief, but if I go an hour, now you get to be part of a show. How many people will let you be part of a show that reaches hundreds of thousands of people, and you get to be a part of my reality? You get to manipulate where I go. You know, you might be a star of the show. You might get your comment posted on. You might change the course of what I'm doing and change the course of what hundreds of thousands of people listen to. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, but you can't do that in 5 or 10 minutes. So it's got to be longer in order to do that. So if you want a short video, watch a short video. I have thousands of them. If you want a short video, but I'm doing only long videos, just watch the first 15 minutes. That's where the bulk of it is. But if you could do better, do it. I'm not mad at it. I just think it's hilarious. People talk down to me like, dude, just without the word salad. Bro, I'm getting paid to be here, bro. Let me see if this is monetizing on Facebook real quick. I'm gonna do it just for you, Rob. Now I'm gonna be petty and go on a filibuster just because you want me to not do word salad. Now it's all word salad. Let me see if this is being monetized on Facebook right now. Give me a second, Rob. Because if it is, I might stall for 10 more minutes and just, you know what I'm saying? It's my job to just annoy you now, Rob. I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid to be word salad. Hold on. Let's see if this is monetized or not. Sometimes it doesn't get monetized while I'm doing it. Hold on. Let's see. It's not really loading, unfortunately, so I don't really know. Hold on. Let's try it one more time. If I can't see, I'm just gonna cut it short. Can't tell, unfortunately, but God bless you guys. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. Appreciate you guys. As always, this is going to be on Dream Rare Podcast too. If you like it, feel free to share it. If you want to see the first 15 minutes of it, that is the bulk of the discussion for the most part. And as always, thank you guys for commenting, giving me your opinions and stuff. I do appreciate you. Someone said petty Karen anomaly energy. I am very Caucasian. You know, people think because I'm partly Hispanic and I get to go to all these Hispanic conservative events because my grandma came from Puerto Rico. People forget that I am very Caucasian. And, you know, Caucasian people have a lot of Karen DNA in them. I'm the most Karen. I'm not like Jordan Peele, who hates his mom and hates Karens and, you know, gets raised by white people, but for some reason doesn't like them, even though he is white. I am Caucasian, you know? I am Karen. I will be speaking to the manager. I'll stay on the line. Oh, can you wait 2.5 hours trying to, oh yeah, I'll stay. I'll be right here. I'll let you play the elevator music. I'll be right here where I was 2.5 hours ago. I'm very Karen. It's like when a fact checker fact checks me. Excuse me, Karen Anomaly here. Can I speak to your manager? Oh, I don't have him. Get him on the phone, or else, that you're threatening. I'm not threatening. This customer service, bro. You did a bad job, and I will hold you accountable with my Karen DNA. Appreciate you guys. God bless you, and I'll be back very soon. I had fun.